In this next class, we're talking about computer programming, and we said programming refers to the technological process for telling a computer which tasks to perform in order to solve problem. And you can think of computer programming as a collaboration between human and computers. And when we're talking about computer programming, that is what computer programming simply means, and in which human creates instruction for a computer to follow code in a language computer can understand. So programming enables you to find many things you can bring to life, or let's say it enables so many things in our life, such as when you browse website to find information and make purchases. Program allows you to interact with the site on page elements such as sign up or purchase button, contact forms, and drop down menus. So computer programming is the language you speak to the computer that the computer does understand. And some of the current most popular computer programming language involve JavaScript, SQL, and Python. So important programming skills include communication, problem solving, analysis, and knowledge of various programming languages. So you can gain programming skill and enroll in a programming course, yes, to start your career path. And another one is key takeaways. What are the key takeaways we have to know in computer programming? We have to know that computer programming refers to the technological process of telling the computer which tasks to perform in order to solve problems. So some of the current most popular computer programming language include JavaScript, SQL, and Python, as I said before. And the most important skill include communication, problem solving, analysis, and knowledge of various programming languages, as I said before. So we have to put this in our mind. So when we're talking about SQL, what does it stand for? So SQL stands for Structured Query Language, and is used to communicate with database, including updating and retrieving data. Another one is Python. We said Python programming is often used in machine learning, web development, and desktop applications. And Python is a popular language among beginners, which they use in computer programming. So, as the syntax relatively easy to learn, it is known as an object-oriented programming language. Another one is JavaScript. This language is used on every major web browser, and JavaScript allows you to add complex features to a web page, such as content updates, interactive maps, and animated graphics, develop games, and many more. So that is the work of JavaScript. Another thing you need to know is your HTML, CSS. This language is used to create web pages and web applications. So you would like to use hypertext markup language, which is HTML, to build web page structure, while cascading styles sheets would enable you to determine the pages styling. So it is very important to know what HTML and CSS is used for in computer programming language. So what are the key computer programming language? Now we've talked about different types of programming language that enables you to write code that computer understand. According to a survey by Statista, the top 5 programming language that developers use are JavaScript, used by 66% of people, HTML, CSS used by 61.9%, SQL used by 58.6% of people, Python used by 7.9%, then Bash or Shell is used by 48.7%. Depends on the one you wish to use. But JavaScript, HTML, SQL, and Python is for beginners. They use it very well, so you can enroll in different types of this computer programming language. So in short, programming follows a few steps. And the first is the programmer writes code, set of letters, numbers, and other characters. And next one is that a computer converts each line of code into a language computer can understand. Then the computer can now scan code and execute it thereby performing a task or series of tasks. So tasks might include displaying an image on a web page or changing the font of section of text on a web page. So it is very important to know how a computer programming works. So how does a computer programming works? At the most basic computer programming language, it is very important that programming tells a computer what to do. Although there are many different kind of coding language, but a computer can only speak a single machine language or object code. So object code is written in binary. So when we say object code is written in binary, we have different kind of it. We have in base 2, we have in base 3, base 4, 6, octa, and so on. So which is a string of ones and zero. So that doesn't look like a language web recognize. So translating a code from something human can read into something computer can understand depends on two types of computer programming language. So with compiled language such as C and C++, a computer translates the code into a machine language. So however, interpreted language such as Python and JavaScript execute the code directly. So there is no need for a computer or for a compiler. If there is need for a computer, that means you use the computer to perform the task. But whenever you have a computer and you have a JavaScript and it is used to execute code directly, that means there is no need for compiler. So when we're talking about the computer programming versus coding, what does coding mean? Is that coding and programming are sometimes used interchangeably, but two concepts are slightly different. Coding refers to the art of writing code, while programming refers to the creating of set of instructions for a computer to follow. Or in computer programming can include a broader range of tasks such as working with data, structure, and algorithms. So, and as we all know, algorithm is the step-by-step problem solving in the computer system. So they aren't inherently coding. So is programming hard? Some might be saying, oh, programming, I can't go into programming, I don't want to do anything called programming, but is it very hard? You see, much like learning any other kind of language, programming takes effort and consistency. So unaccountably, you may hear that it gets easier to learn other coding language once you've mastered your first. The good news that is that their courses get to any learning level for small children to experience programming who want to expand into a new language. For example, Scratch programming is an example of what we are talking about. So it depends on the kind of person you are. Maybe from a small child from age 8 to 19 and so on can learn Scratch programming, and the more you go deeper into what we call programming. So the programming behind apps can make it easy to order food, book a rideshare service, track your fitness, access media, and many more. So programming helps business operators to operate more efficiently through different software for file storage and automation and video conferencing tools to connect people globally. And when we're talking about this, we talk about all different type of computer programming that enables you to perform all these tasks, and how do they allow you to perform the tasks, and what are the operations involved. Yeah, what are the things they do? For example, collaboration, organization, communication, problem solving, SQL, HTML, CSS, Python, JavaScript, analysis. So all these things help you to be familiar with your computer programming and also connect with other programmers. Yes, very, very important. Whenever you are into programming, make sure you have good connection, communication skill with other programmers, because When you build a network and connect with other programmers, you can gain exposure to programming trends, opportunities, and solutions to common challenges. So what are the ways to connect with other programmers? You see, we have different ways which we connect to other programmers. You see, build essential programming skill. So as you are taking courses, you may want to ensure you are developing essential programming skill, particularly if your goals are to pursue a new career or enhance your current one. So while a course you are enrolled in may provide an overview of importance of programming skill and then structure the learning experience accordingly. So you may find it helpful to find out what exactly employers are looking for while programming. So the top workspace and technological skill you will need as a programmer is collaboration, organization, communication, and problem solving, as we've talked about it before. So you will need those things because they are very, very important. So what do you need to do? Launch a new programming career in a specific industry, explore programming in your current role, and take on new projects that combine programming with what you already do. So pursue programming as a hobby and complete projects that match your interest. So another thing is programming language. While hundreds of programming language, why, if not thousands, exist, and you could classify them in many ways. They typically can be grouped into 5 main categories. And what are the 5 main categories? You have procedural programming language, functional programming language, object-oriented programming language, scripting language, logic programming language. So you can learn more about different types of programming language in the article, or you go online and you learn types of programming languages. So we have article 5 in our next class that talks about types of programming language. So let's talk about TypeScript. When we're talking about TypeScript, it says TypeScript is a free open source programming language developed by Microsoft as a superset of JavaScript. So it is used for developing large applications. So whenever you want to develop large applications, you will need what we call TypeScript. And as it is explained from what is on the screen, we said it's a free open source programming language developed by Microsoft as a superset of JavaScript. So when you are creating your large application, you will need TypeScript. And it's very, very important to have TypeScript. Yeah, very, very important to have TypeScript. So computer programming is how people can communicate and interact with computers in a nutshell. Then you see, you need to learn about some common programming language and steps to begin building your own experience. Very, very important. So you need to explore your structured programming. So the more you explore, the more you learn about programming, build your skill, and complete projects, the closer you can get to achieving your goals. So on a routine basis, reflect on the kind of future you would like to have in programming and explore the responsibilities, including jobs, listening to programs, freelancing as a programmer, building apps for friends and family, and enhancing your education. So explore your free career resources. Explore your free career resources. You can subscribe on different kind of websites like LinkedIn newsletter, career chat, and so on. So you see updates, trends, or if you want to explore more about programming, check out this on your own free resources. So check out online, check for different kind of thing you will need. So complete computer programming project is very, very important, because completing project is a great way to apply your skill and discover your programming potential. So find tutorials online to complete your beginner project, such as creating a mobile app, creating calculator app, building simple game, building a basic website. Very, very important. So As we've said before, connect with other programmers. So when you build a network and connect with other programmers, you can gain exposure to programming trends, opportunities, and solutions to common challenges, and way to connect to other programmers. We've talked about it. Very important to attend tech conference and network events. So you need signing up for a coding bootcamp, subscribing to programming influencers and thought leaders. So joining an online community uh, such as Code, New Vibe, or Kaji will help you to discover uh, your land stands on computer programming. So as you are seeing on the screen, we have different images. Yeah, talking about the apps you can create. So that enables people to be able to benefit from the tech world. So you create Java programs, Java apps, and other apps by which people will use on their phones that enable them to perform well online. So what's programming language? We've discussed that, and it's very, very important to take notes of all these things we've discussed in this class. So till we meet in the next class, where we'll be discussing other topics. Yes, we'll be discussing other topics. I hope in the next episode we should be viewing other parts, concepts of computer. Yes.